Last Sunday, if you happen to be here, I encouraged the community, especially our young folks, to ask more questions. I said then that I, and the campus ministers as well, would be available to be with you in those questions. I was surprised, actually I was shocked, that so many responded so quickly. Many got some of those long-held questions out there. The coolest thing about a question is that even if it's very personal, it's also very universal. And anything one struggles with is likely going to be something that we all struggle with or we have over the years. One of those many questions that arose this past week was from an undergraduate who came in and asked one of those kinds of questions. She asked, "You often say that God is love, Father Gary, that God is relationship, and that when we enter into relationship, we are in the mystery of God, whether we know it or not. And it is not just that God is in relationship, but that God is relationship itself." A+, I told her. Yet it seems that nothing ends more regularly than love. Nothing breaks down more frequently than relationships. Couples break up. Roommates we think are friends hurt each other and shut each other out. And many of us are divorced or come from divorced homes. So how can it be then that if God is love, that love falls apart so regularly? What would you do with that question? How would you have answered her? If God is love, then why does love fail so often? It's a great question. And she, like all of us, will have to discover her answer to that question. But what I can say is the way she began, that God is love, that love is the starting point, and that love is who we are, that love is the me within me and the you within you. That's the truth. But in any relationship, any one of us at any time has the power to kill love. That's the truth. We have the power, you and I, to destroy love. And there are two things I see often that do that in us, in myself and in so many of us along the way. Two things that have the power to kill love. The first, beyond measure, is fear. Beyond measure, fear can kill love. Not only can fear keep us apart or from ever engaging in a new and potentially great relationship, but fear can actually kill it at any point along the way, even after 25 or 50 years after the commitment was made. That question you and I all need to be asking ourselves, the question we need to be asking ourselves all the time is, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of in this relationship at this time, even after all these years of marriage? Where is my fear? Where are my fears right now and right here that are keeping this love from going forward? What am I afraid of? That question matters if love is going to survive, much less succeed. That's a hard one to grapple with, and it demands constant vigilance from us so that it does not kill love. But the other one that I see so frequently, I stumble across again and again in myself and in you, is even more difficult sometimes because it's so unconscious. There are things about me and about all of us that keep people away, that are literally off-putting, that put people off. Things about us that drive people away from us, that we're not even aware of. Attitudes, behaviors, immaturities that we are often unaware of that keep this person I would like to become friends with or remain friends with over there away from me, or even drive them over there away from me, away, all the time away. They are landmines. Landmines that were there all the time, but we didn't see them. We were unaware of them. Landmines that are landmines because you don't know they're there as you make your way down that road, that can dismember love. And it's only the rare person, it seems to me, that will figure it out for themselves. Most of the time we'll take someone who becomes that mirror for us, someone who will have the courage enough to tell us the truth that's getting in the way of our relationships and of love, the love we long for, that we live for, that we're sabotaging ourselves, we don't even know it, that's getting in the way, or that perhaps is a concern they have for us, or that would someday knock us up the side of the head with the truth about us. For many of you, maybe it seems finding your partner for life is so difficult. It's almost like trying to win the lottery, maybe even harder than winning the lottery, it seems. Maybe you have no problem getting it going, getting started into a relationship, and like that young woman asked this past week, things between you start off with a bang. They really start off with a bang. Friendship starts off with a bang. This new love starts off with a bang. And sooner or later, things really, really, really go wrong. And the relationship ends faster than it began. And so time after time after time, love disappoints. Going from relationship to relationships leave us feeling more and more helpless and out of control. And we don't know how to break that cycle. Maybe we get that first date, maybe even a second date, but then it seems to go south. Your heart wants to connect, but the match never quite happens. And so you feel lonely, frustrated, maybe even full of despair. Heartbreak after heartbreak, you know you want something to change, but you don't know what to do to make it change. Too often our unconscious beliefs are creating the world we are experiencing. That's hard to admit. That puts the blame nowhere but right here. It's important that that begins to sink into us, that truth. Too often, our unconscious beliefs are creating the world we are experiencing. You and I are responsible for the very situation we find ourselves in today. All that heartbreak, all that loneliness, all that pain, we'd like to think it's somebody else getting it wrong, but it actually is likely us doing something wrong we don't even know. There's no blame, though, here. No need to blame ourselves. Most of this stuff, as I just said, is unconscious. It's unconscious beliefs, it's unconscious attitudes, unconscious behaviors. Yet they can drive our entire life, much as if an unwelcome ghost were at the wheel of our car and we've been pushed to the back seat, not having any say in where this is going. If that is you, and I know it is me, then this gospel is for us. Gary, now cut that out. Grown up, whenever I was acting up or acting out at home, I could hear my mom or my dad, I can still hear my mom and dad saying just those words, Gary, cut it out. If I was teasing my brother mercilessly, Gary, cut it out. if I was bickering with my parents or being disrespectful, Gary, cut it out. They said it again and again. And I never put what they were saying to me together with the gospel we just heard. Never made the connection. I bet any money they learned that line from Jesus. Jesus is saying to Peter and to the Pharisees and to the Magdalene and to everybody else along the way, now cut that out. Stop it. That undergraduate knew immediately after I responded the way I did, knew immediately what it was about her. She knew it immediately, what it was in her that was blowing up her loves. I was blown away myself by her self-awareness. Most of us don't, or at least can't admit it. The good news is that she can cut that out because now she knows what it is. And she can begin to see love flourishing again for herself. And just the next day, another question came from another student, this time a grad student. But this time it was 3 questions, and it was on an email. And I want to share with you his 3 questions because they were courageous and humble. Here's what he wrote. I trust you will tell me the truth, so please think through these 3 questions about me. What is one thing you see me doing or failing to do that's getting in my own way? Let me repeat that. What's one thing you see me doing or failing to do that's getting in my own way? What's one thing I could change that would make a difference to you? What's one thing I could change about myself that would make a difference to you? And what's working that you'd like me to continue? What's working here that you would like me to continue? He wants to know. He wants to know because he would like to be successful in love and in his career, as successful as he possibly can given our human imperfection. And I pass these questions on to you in the light of this gospel, and because they're great questions for all of us to ask someone we trust. Urgent questions if we want our lives to be less lonely and more connected. If love is ever to be realized in our lives, my friends, his good questions will help us see those landmines before we step on them that could kill love and cut them out. We can't fix what we don't see. We can't fix what we don't see. Once we become aware of what it is that's getting in the way, whether it be fear or some behavior or attitude or belief, the next thing we're going to hear Jesus say to us is, now cut that out. Cut that out so that we can be transformed, so that we can be transformed and can finally attract and sustain a lasting love. And the good news is, we can. We really can.